Yes, I understand.
What about Jimena? Does she still have problems?
Sorry?
What about
No,
Jimena? Does she still have problems or can we listen to her now?
I
No.
can listen to you.
What? Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Now, Karina, where are you from?
I'm from Morelia.
Morelia. How's the weather right now?
It's a little cloudy.
Cloudy. Okay. Well,
Look at the weather.
yeah, a little cloudy.
It's a
Yeah,
little
it's beautiful.
cloudy and cold.
Okay, you have your Christmas tree. Okay, how was your experience with this subject, syntax activities that I set for you on the platform?
It is easy to follow instructions and things like that. The only thing that I believe was not, I didn't understand very well, was the reading sequence. Since I wasn't at the first meeting, I guess you had a meeting before I signed to the course. As I wasn't at the meeting, I didn't know in what order to read, or if I had to read all the book or only the chapters you mentioned. Because I discovered that, well, the chapters that were mentioned to be read were 1, 11, and 4th. But the activity that is about nouns and things like that, it's in chapter 2. So it was a little confusing for me, but now I'm trying to read all the book.
Yeah, okay. The point here was that it was not necessary to read the book, all the book, okay? Just chapters, and I set instructions on the program, and it was, from my opinion, easy to follow the instructions, but there's no detail in this case, okay? So, but the most important thing that we're going to be here as a brief time, but it's important that we have a talk because we are professional in the teaching of English. No? So, are you working in secondary, high school, elementary, or university?
I'm working at the university, but giving only language courses. I have taught at medicine school and with doctors, but teaching them some medicine language. But usually I just teach language courses, English as a language.
Okay. So, has been the most important or the most difficult thing that you have faced as a professional of the English teaching?
Well, I don't know if it is because I like it very much, but I haven't found anything so difficult about teaching the language. Of course, when I started and I was unexperienced, grammar was difficult for me because I studied in a school that didn't teach me a grammar. It was like only inferring everything. So when I studied English, I didn't learn grammar. I just learned how to speak. So teaching grammar was very difficult at the beginning, but once I mastered the topics, there was no problem. I guess the principal problem is more like social problems or personal problems when the students are difficult or when they don't really understand because they have some personal issues or things like that. But the language per se, it's okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you recognize, for example, the necessity to to check carefully our sometimes our speech or sometimes our written form because English functions in really unknown ways and you in unexpected. Okay? So sometimes you can say I'm in my case I could say that I'm professional in English and I have taught English since 2002. So I have experience. But when I try to write, sometimes or most of the time I have questions to myself. Is it okay or is this form the best or it means meet or join or what? Okay. Or as you said today, the principal, okay, you say or the main. Okay, so you say the main or the principal. If you check on the dictionary, the principal, okay, could be must for directors. Okay.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, and I pay attention, that's right. The most difficult part is to check written papers because the students write sometimes strange structures and that you have to find like a sequence, and sometimes you say, is that right? Is it
Okay,
wrong?
in my opinion, the role of teachers or professors has changed because before the use of technology, um, teachers kept teaching what they want, or at least they were the masters or the person who held the power. So you learn this and you learn that, and I'm gonna do an exam. We're going to present an exam. We're gonna have an exam the next week, and I'm gonna grade it, and that's it. Right now, with the use of technology, students can listen to different speeches, they can watch videos, and they can download apps for the learning of English. And most of the time, students try to know different vocabulary, but but about topics that they like music, like I don't know, slangs, no idioms, and it's difficult for professors that are not habituated to cope or deal with the language. For example, I have had a question to myself, and I'm gonna try to make a research about this. And for example, you studied English in Morelia?
Sorry, I didn't listen the question. Can you repeat it again?
Where did you study English?
Yeah, here in Morelia.
Okay. Have you had an experience abroad?
No, I haven't. Well, I haven't been to USA or any speaking English speaking country, but I have had many friends, many American friends, and I have taken the Cambridge exam. I have a C1 certification.
Okay. So it's gonna be a part of my research. So, but I would like you to think of it like the self-confidence part. Some teachers, maybe it's not your case, but some teachers or most of the teachers in Mexico speak English because we are professionals or we have a paper, but the students would like to hear that you or I have visited the United States or Canada or another country to show them pictures or photos, or at least to share experiences in that country. Know? And some people, when I'm gonna tell you my experience. When I was younger, when I was 20, right now I'm in my 40s now, in my middle 40s. But when I was 20, 22, that I started teaching English at university, it was kind of difficult for me. Why? Because I didn't have the self-confidence part in order to teach it. And when you go to the United States, blah, 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 you say, no, I don't know. But you are the teacher of English, a professor of English. Yes, but I haven't had, but maybe son. Okay, okay, thank you. In other school, teacher, what's the meaning of this, or what's the sense of that, or how do people greet you in a real form and say, oh, okay, and I was always trying to say myself, okay, be calm because there is no problem. And in my case, I was kind of que no me pregunten nada del contexto, okay? So, and I kept uh, praying to God every day. So it was a problem for me. It was for me, just for me, okay? Just for me. So, but most of the people consider that there's no problem, or we want to consider that. So, do you have any plans for visiting another country in order to? Okay, I know that you speak English, but in order mm, to get some cultural aspects, like you can hear the real context, you can feel the real stress when you order a hamburger, when you order a please large, medium, or small. Okay, here you are. Hi there. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so I'm gonna be here when you have what. Okay. And you say, hey, could you speak uh, slower, please, or a little bit um, louder? Okay. So, what's your opinion about what I'm saying?
Well, it has been my decision not to go to any other countries.
Yeah,
I My sister lives in the United States.
yeah,
She has lived there for 23 years, more or less.
yeah.
So if I wanted, I will go to visit her. In fact, she was always asking me, like, come on, come, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't found like the right moment or the willingness. I don't know. It's not something that it's so appealing to me
Yeah.
or my husband. So maybe in the future, but uh, maybe in the future, like in some years, but just because we want to see other places, not because I think it is a necessity to teach English. As you said, maybe because of my ignorance or whatever, but I haven't found it that it is a problem with me that I haven't been there. My students normally don't ask me if I have been there, but when I tell them that I haven't been, I explain them the reality. Many of my students will never go to United States. So what it might look like a disadvantage, I use it to tell them that if they never have the possibility to go there, they can still learn.
Yes. Okay,
So
but
normally don't ask. Maybe because I can't talk about culture and things like that because of the things I read. Uh, but as I told you, when they talk to me about that, it has never been an issue. They are okay with my answer.
yeah, I got it. So, but I'm just trying to reflect how self-confidence would be important when we are professionals of English. So most of the time, because, well, I mean, for people that are starting to be a teacher of English, no? I consider that Mexican government has been some interesting purposes like Proyecta 100,000, like 100,000 Mexican people would visit the United States with free of payment, okay? So like with a scholarship. So it was kind of interesting because it was directed to the government, and you could visit the United States for a month, all day, all. Okay? So, but talking about syntax again, it's gonna be sometimes it's difficult to understand how English works because for young people, not is not a clear way to write, for example. And even if you are professional in the teaching of English, it's necessary to have in mind or keep in mind that um, we have to practice our written structures all the time because English functions different English functions with unexpected ways. So um, when you wrote your reading report, what was the experience with the format? Did you use the format?
Yes, I did. I use the format.
How was it?
Well, this is the format, most of it, like 90% of it. This is the format I give to my students to report novels.
Okay.
So it was not that difficult. Of course, it is a little different because this has to be about syntax. That is not a novel, but it was not that difficult. As you said before, of course, the writing part is the hardest thing for me in English. I have to be checking if I committed a mistake, etc., etc. For example, right now that I'm writing here at the chat or when I'm writing at the telephone, apart from my own mistakes and my own syntax problems, the corrector is a disaster and it makes me double check everything. So
Yes.
yeah, the writing part to summarize and things like that, it's the part that I should work more with. So it was very good it is very good to take your class because I'm learning many things that sometimes we don't reflect on and that we have to learn. So that's why, as I told you, I'm trying to read the whole book because it is so interesting.
Okay, it sounds great. So the book is good. I think it's a good book. So, and about all the purpose, the main purpose for my subjects in Vasconcelos is that people reflect their professional practice because I know that you can repeat all what you read, but I can read too. So the most important thing here is reflecting about what we do every day.
Yes, it is. The most
Okay.
important is that what we read really impacts our classes.
Hmm.
The
Yes,
most
that's right.
important thing is that what we read really impacts our classes.
Yeah. Okay, that's the main purpose for all kind of reading. Even if you read a novel, you have to look for that element that you can take for your own way of life or to reflect what you have done. So that's why some people say, no, I don't like reading. No, they don't like reading because they don't want to have a different purpose or to take an element for having a purpose in their life.
Or to know that you don't know anything. That
Okay,
you have to
and
know.
where do you work? We
Where do I
have,
work?
Yeah.
I work
Okay.
at the Universidad Michoacana de San Nicolás de Hidalgo.
Okay. I'm gonna be there as soon as possible. Okay, Karen, you there? Or yeah, is it Karen or Karina Alvarez and Karen? Okay, I have Karen, are you there? Yes. Okay, your audio is not the microphone, your speaker is not functioning, but I know you are there. Can you try again? I feel like a person who works with spirits. Are you there? Okay.
Hello, teacher. Yes, I'm here.
How are you today?
Um, Very good. Thanks.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Tabasco.
Are you waking up?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have a party?
Something like that.
Yes.
Yes,
Or
I forgot the meeting.
first of all, you went to the Yunca and then you try some snacks and then you had a party. Okay. What's the weather like?
Uh, it's rainy right now.
Rainy?
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's really strange.
Here,
Really strange because it's Tabasco. Okay. So in Villahermosa or Huimanguillo or where do you live?
I live in Comalcalco, Tabasco.
Okay. How is your experience? How is your experience going with this subject and with this teacher?
Uh, I,
Mm, okay. We can't hear you. Well, okay, Karen, here again. Open your speaker, please, your microphone. Okay, well, so what was the most important idea that you could share about syntax? Karina, you could.
About books? About the book we read? Or about the
No,
class in
syntax
general?
in general. Syntax in general. Syntax in
Syntax
general.
in general. Okay. Well, I have to tell you, I'm a lawyer. This is my career, but I have been teaching for many years. But I have never before studied syntax per se. So I think it is very important to learn it because knowing how the sentences are formed and what the structure is, and things like that helps you and will help my students to know when a sentence is ungrammatical. About I remember that in the first questions you sent us, we were talking about grammaticality, and this is very important for the students to know when a sentence is not grammatical, because in that way they can form new sentences and they can understand a sentence that they have never encountered before, but they know if it follows the rule, it is a right sentence. So I think you can apply it for everyday life by watching, by checking new sentences and discovering if they are correct or not. If you don't know anything about structure or the function of the words, it's difficult to know if a sentence is correct. So I think syntax is very important. And I think that everybody that speaks a language knows something about syntax, but we don't know how to name things or how to, as the book says, and some pages that I read apart from the book, the person who speaks a language does many things by logic, by knowing the language. Knowing a language is very internal, is a very internal process, but syntax helps you to improve your language in order to share it with somebody else's language. Well, the books that I read said that everybody has a very special language. Yes, English exists, but every person speaks different English, because you speak a language according to your life, to your story. So syntax is good because it helps to put all the languages into a context and helps everybody to understand other people. Because if we didn't have syntax and we will have our own language, that would be a disaster.
Yes. But the regular we have
Whatever
elements when we try to learn foreign language, and we try to understand them from Spanish, no? So that's a really common problem that we could have, or our students could have. Okay, well, so the most important thing in this moment is that this is not a class. This is not a class, okay? The idea of this meeting is to interchange experiences, okay? The idea of this meeting is not to repeat what the book says or repeat what the capsule contains. So the idea of this is to reflect. The idea is to continue our Sunday with the conviction that we are doing what we have to do as professionals of English, and trying to get a degree as a master degree, but not just sending homework, and no, reflecting and have a face-to-face experience with your teachers. I think it's a good thing. Okay. No, Yoli, good morning. How are you? We are almost saying goodbye. Okay. Yolanda Diaz. Okay. Well, at least Yolanda, you are here. I know you are here. So you are the third spirit that are here. Not the fourth. Karen, Jimena, Yolanda, and Karina. Okay, I'm gonna Stop.